It's your boy DJ Cree, Top Floor Entertainment, New Jersey LLC. You already know. Top floor, baby. Ow. Listen, this response video is for Brandon Tatum. Listen, I'm not coming at you. I'm not disagreeing with you. Everybody has an opinion. You back your opinion up with a lot of factual evidence, but you also had an opinion, and it wasn't all facts. My video is about facts and my opinion. Once again, in response to your video. In the last video you put out, we see that there's another video of Mr. AHMAUD ARBERY going into a dwelling, looking around, and allegedly somebody said something out the window. Is not really sure if they did or didn't, but you said allegedly somebody said something out their house or window or whatever, and Mr. Arbery took off running. He was only in the dwelling for 3 minutes. He took off running. He wasn't forcibly doing anything dangerous. He wasn't seen stealing anything. He wasn't seen robbing the place. Nothing. He didn't have anything on him or nothing. So he took off running. He's running down the street. Mr. McMichaels and his son, he goes chasing after him with their shotguns. Let's start there. Now, let's talk about Georgia law. Let's talk about deadly force first. Georgia law says you must reasonably believe deadly force is necessary to prevent death or great bodily injury to you or someone else, or it's the only way to stop a forcible felony. A forcible felony. Mr. AHMAUD wasn't committing a forcible felony. What did you need to stop him with deadly force for? There was no reason to stop him with deadly force. He wasn't committing a forcible felony. Even if Mr. McMichaels and them saw or had knowledge of him going into the dwelling, he was not committing a forcible felony. It wasn't even a felony going into the dwelling. Well, let's talk about that. Was it a felony according to Georgia law, him going into the dwelling? From what you said, it was. He was committing a felony. It's called burglary. Okay. But did Mr. McMichaels see him go into the dwelling? Did they see him commit the felony? That's going to be the question to ask. That's going to be the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. Did they see him, or did they have knowledge of him going into? How did they gain knowledge? Let's say that. How did they gain knowledge that he went into that dwelling and that he was definitely the suspect? Because in their statement to the police, they never stated that he was definitely the person breaking into the properties. He's definitely the one committing the crimes and stuff like that. Yeah, there's 4 cases that they're trying to link him to, but now you sound like a cop. I'm sorry, sir, but now you sound like a cop. You're talking just like a cop. You're trying to pin these other cases on this man because of the situation to protect the man, Mr. McMichaels, who used to be the DA, who used to work for the prosecutor's office. That's not factual evidence. You have to hit me with facts. Did they knowingly know? Did the cops know? Did the cops tip off Mr. McMichaels and his son? Who told Mr. McMichaels and his son? That's the question everybody wants to know. But we're not going to keep beating a dead horse on that one. All right, so forcible is a key word. Lately, some armed bystanders have shot at shoplifters fleeing stores. Shoplifting, like other petty theft, is not a forcible felony. Typically, violence is justifiable only in stopping or preventing other violence, not property loss. For example, you are allowed to use force to protect property other than your own, if it belongs to someone in your immediate family or you are lawfully charged to defend it. Now, the other question I have, was Mr. McMichaels and his son lawfully charged to defend this property? That's a question. Were they lawfully charged to defend this property, or is this their property? Do they have any? How do they have ties to this property? Why are they worried about somebody breaking into this property, which we can see that is being renovated or whatever it's being, and there's nothing wrong with the property? I mean, there's nothing there to steal. What, he's going to steal wood and run down the street? It's broad daylight. He's going to steal some wood. There's no tools in there. We didn't see any tools on the video. So what is he going to steal? Maybe he was casing out the place and he's going to come back later at night. But that's hypothetical. We don't know what he was doing in there because he's not here to defend himself. All right, so let's see. Let's go up to defending yourself. Speaking of defense, the self-defense law has exceptions, even for when you personally feel threatened. It says you're not justified in using deadly force if you're the instigator. You can't provoke someone to attack you with the intent of using deadly force in response. You're the one committing the felony. If someone using force to stop you're committing a crime, you legally cannot assault them and claim self-defense. You are fighting by mutual agreement. Similar to the first exception, you can't start a fist fight and then fatally stab your unarmed combatant to stop it, unless you withdraw and your opponent continues to use or threaten to use unlawful force. Alright, so breaking that down, defending yourself. The McMichaels instigated this whole situation. They didn't have to go after him. Citizens arrest, no citizens arrest. Call the police. Let the police handle it. You have a description of the perp. Call the police. Let the police handle it. You think that this is the guy breaking into the property. You've seen or you have knowledge of him breaking into this dwelling. Okay, call the police. Now my question is, how are they going to claim self-defense? How are the McMichaels going to claim self-defense when they instigated this whole situation? He would have never went after the gun if the gun was never present. Why did the son get out of the vehicle with the shotgun in his hand? And you're going to say, oh, open carry law and he can have a shotgun. No, he can't have a shotgun pointed at another person. But we didn't see that in the video, so now I'm speculating. Maybe he didn't point it at the other person. Maybe he had the shotgun pointed down and it was not in a deadly, threatening manner. But I'm sorry. If somebody's coming at me with a shotgun, may the best man win. Now, if it's two people coming at me with a shotgun, I'm outnumbered. But I'm still going to defend myself and I'm going to fight for my life. Mr. Arbery in the video is fighting for his life. That's what he's doing. But that's speculation as well. Well, I'm just going by the facts of the video and what we saw. Let's see. The other one is stand your ground. Stand your ground means only that you don't have to retreat. It does not mean you're justified in pursuing someone who's no longer a threat. Shoot an aggressor who turns and runs and you're not on solid legal ground anymore. Mr. Arbery was running down the street. There's no reason for them to shoot this man. He's running down the street. You call the cops. You can keep following him all you want. You can follow him. There's no reason for you to try and stop him. There's no reason for you to go to deadly force. He didn't have a weapon on him. He's unarmed. So why are you escalating the deadly force? Rules of engagement. If he doesn't have a weapon, then the only force that you're allowed to go to is non-lethal. Non-lethal. So you didn't have nothing in your truck that was non-lethal that could have took him down? You didn't have nothing in your truck, but you're out here trying to be a vigilante, chasing down criminals and bad guys, but you don't have nothing else in your truck. That doesn't make sense to me. He's an ex-cop, so he doesn't have his baton on him anymore. He doesn't have nothing else. He doesn't have a taser on him. I'm confused. Even as a cop, military, I can explain it the military way. Our rules of engagement is if a person is in a threatening manner, then we could go to non-lethal. If a person has a non-lethal weapon on them, then we could go to deadly force. But we preferably go to non-lethal at that point as well. If a person has a lethal weapon on them, knife, gun, lethal weapons that can pose a threat to my bodily harm, then I can automatically go to deadly force. Mr. Arbery didn't have a weapon on him. There's no reason for you to go to deadly force. There's no reason for that man to be shot down in the streets. And it's going to take a lot of explaining. It's going to take a lot of investigating to do. This case is far from over, but from seeing what we're seeing so far and the evidence that we're seeing so far, the GBI already had that tape. Before they made the arrest on Mr. McMichaels and his son, they already had that tape. This is not a brand new tape. It's brand new to us as a public, but it's not a brand new tape to the investigation. They already had that tape. They seen what was going on. There was nothing illegal that Mr. Arbery was doing. There was no reason for him to be chased down. There's no reason for them to citizenly arrest them. There's no reason. We'll see what happens. I'm being optimistic. I want to see all the evidence on both sides before I take sides. But it's really hard seeing another black man. We'll see what happens. But until then, stay tuned. My page, DJ Cree 10. I'll see y'all. Peace and blessings.